Do Tiger Warriors have bite in patch 8.0.1? Rather than debate the vagaries of early access builds, let us open the tiger's mouth and count the fangs here upon public launch. Even since first writing that sentence, CA has issued a hotfix which has great import on these 3 units, so let's go into the details, and I'll act as your honorary changelog too. Please like, subscribe, notify bell, and maybe even comment to help me level up this channel. Recruited for 1200 gold and 250 upkeep, regular Tiger Warriors come on Ultra Unit scale with 80 entities and 8000 health for 100 per entity. Armor is 30. In a default state, there are no special resistances, which no doubt changes in their specific campaign. Leadership 70 is our default, and it's a pretty decent level. Speed 44 and charge speed 50 are very mobile, considering human standards. Melee attack begins at 42, a good 10 higher than the Empire Swordsman mediocrity line. Attack interval 3.8 seconds is brisker than usual, rather than the speed nerf, let's say, dual sword infantry tend to get. The backend files list a splash target size of small, so infantry only, but max target splashed is firmly set at 1, therefore I would expect greater disruption than normal potentially, but no actual increase in targets damaged. Still interesting. Melee defense begins at 34, which is 4 better than it was before the hotfix, shoring them up a fair bit. Weapon strength 54 is split base 40 and armor piercing 14, making them damage dealers in combat and base heavy ones at that. There is a bonus versus infantry of 5 only, but that still gets us to melee attack 47 and weapon strength 59 versus infantry at rank 0, quite impressive. Charge bonus of 35 is quite strong, and on par with Chaos Offerings, and mass is 200 per. Chaos Offerings. Hold that thought. Able to hide in forest, the Tiger Warrior attribute gives it the stat boosts accounted for already, and one new thing. Devastating Ambusher, which triggers when the unit is charging rather than ambushing, per se. For 20 seconds, the unit gets charge bonus plus 15%, charge speed plus 25%, speed plus 50% generally, and Devastating Flanker, doubling the charge bonus from the flank or the rear as the bonus decays for its regular duration. One thing to note is that there is a cooldown of 90 seconds, so you are incentivized to make those charges count when they first occur. So what we have here is patterned very heavily on Forsaken of Slaanesh, with a lot less armor, a lot higher melee attack, somewhat higher melee defense, and some minor tinkering with the damage output offset fully by the bonus versus infantry. Recruited for 1500 gold and 300 upkeep, the Stalker's variant is a bit of a different beast. I am ducking tomatoes currently. Coming in at 60 entities with 6000 HP, they're the very same health cat for cat, you just have 25% less felines. Armor of 15 is half normal value, but the dodgy and shifty nature gives 20% physical resistance, much like we've been going over for Knight and Gutter runners. Thus, they will offset the less armor substantially when facing mundane opponents. Losing the armor and extra entities will still hurt. Leadership is 70 and unchanged, regular speed is 52 or 8 better, but charge speed 50 is unchanged, but of course, Devastating Ambusher will help with that. Melee attack 42, attack interval 3.8, and no targets damaged by splash are the same. Melee defense of 40 is significantly better, and it's 6 higher now rather than the 10 higher it was before the hotfix. Weapon strength 40 was raised by 5 from launch, but what's this? Damage is split base 15 and armor piercing 25 now, making their armor piercing value much better than it was a day before. Now, it outstrips a lot of great weapon units, albeit at a restrained entity count. There is no bonus versus infantry here, charge bonus is 35, mass is 200 again. The precursor weapons they will auto-fire when getting into combat, and apparently move fast enough they'll usually get only one shot off unless you specifically stop them from charging, which is probably not your plan. Has 2 ammunition, throwing range 70, actual impacts are base 15 and armor piercing 18 damage, with a damage only bonus versus infantry of 5, split along the same ratio. Axe trajectory, reload time a mere 6 seconds. Total accuracy 20, calibration distance is a non-issue at 100 meters. Calibration area 1.6 meters means they're pretty accurate but not sniper level. There is a penetration cap of small and a max targets penetrated beyond the first of 2. This means their axe projectile arc missiles operate a great deal like Marauder horsemen with javelins or throwing axes, where you take what bonuses you can, but it's just that, a bonus. In addition to the devastating ambusher thing, these have stalk, vanguard deployment, and fire whilst moving, so they are very much your Chameleon Stalker equivalent, except those are atrocious at killing once engaged in melee, compared to other things in that roster, and weirdly good at raw holding besides that. Here, the effective hit points would be 25% greater than the 6,000 base, meaning that the armor difference will hurt, but like leopards, pound for pound, they're actually pretty ferocious, despite the numbers issue. Trading overall damage for more armor piercing makes them more consistent against a mix of targets, and that's before charge bonus and devastating flanker inflate those figures short term. Iron Claw Tiger Warriors come for 1700 gold and 350 upkeep. Here we're back to 80 entities, but it's 8,800 health or 110 HP per cat. Armor is 60 or a full double that of the original unit. Leadership 75 is 5 better at rank 0. Speed and charge speed track the original at 44 and 55. Melee attack of 40 is 2 worse. Attack interval 3.8 seconds. No splash damage. So those are unchanged. Melee defense of 46 is a full 12 better than the base Tiger Warriors. Weapon strength 50 is 4 worse overall for infantry targets. Damage is split base 12 and armor piercing 38 with a massive bonus versus large of 20. Meaning, it's up to melee attack 60 and weapon strength 70, heavily leaning into armor mulching at rank 0. Charge bonus is 35 yet again, and mass is 240 or 40 better. Besides Hide Forest and Devastating Ambusher, this unit indeed has charge bonus versus large and charge reflection. Now, what can we compare this to? I say Eshin Triads, minus the stealth aspect, and with much harder hitting capabilities here. It's fast and mobile generally, it's straight up health and armor rather than ninja reflexes, and 80 entities versus 72 isn't that much of a difference, but the point is, yes, it can brace, but its true power is its enhanced ability to hunt cavalry and monsters as a reinforcing unit and rip them to shreds. So, it's anti-troll, anti-dragon, anti-big bad, and being straight-up armor-piercing means its tiny nerfs to anti-infantry baseline performance are in practice negligible. So it's just really good at a lot of stuff. Its overall performance is very strong. There is nothing worth calling a weakness to be found. Now, what didn't we see here in the general Dragon Lord compatible state? No magical attack and no harmony. That system doesn't apply to them because they're not Cathay natives. So while they're strong, absolutely they are. They do not get buffed in the same way. This also means they are 0% harmed by lack of such buffs and operate at 100% value on their own, separate from the main army. You can't ask for more for a fast melee element you'd want to flank with. So we now shift to Cathay semi-rework material and thus the redline skills. CA didn't make this complicated to start with. Tiger Warriors all benefit from unyielding, and 3 pips in that means melee attack plus 6 and melee defense plus 6, even on rank 0 units, making them even better and making them stat powerhouses, with that kind of Source Warrior-like damage output. At rank 7, Blades of the Bastion affect all 3 variants, Stalkers included, granting leadership plus 6, melee defense plus 5, and spell resistance plus 10% for good measure. In the generalized tech tree, unit section, Mastery of Yang contains a plus 4 melee attack for all melee units, and as we've seen, all the Tiger units apply. Aside from general melee infantry and Cathay unit recruitment improvements, Jade stance affects Tiger Warriors in addition to Jade and Peasant units for armor plus 15, melee defense plus 4. Given the overall strength of the units, this simple technology makes them frighteningly sturdy. Get this up to drill training, and it's armor plus 10 again, leadership plus 6, and melee attack plus 4. Thus, a rising tide lifts all junks. Yang Reflection gives plus 10% weapon strength when attacking for all armies, Inner Speed grants vigor loss reduction minus 10%, and speed plus 20%? That's not a small thing here at all. The circumstances being what they are, I am deferring buffs and boosts from heroes, lords, and the DLC-specific characters to future videos. Here, I want this video to be safe for use with all the Cathay factions. Everything else is just icing on the cake. So how do we use the Tiger Warriors? Well, after having said all that, we can legitimately call them stat monsters of varying degrees. They're not so overpowered that the game can't handle them, and so long as they are costed fairly, I have few real concerns about that either. I mean, Forsaken with less armor and better stats, they're ferocious on the attack, and they're okay on defense, at least until we get to the Ironclaw elites, and as welcome as those are, either you have ways to shoot them, or you're playing Khorne and have other ways of addressing the issue. Thus, these carnivores will have something of a feast and famine cycle in battle. For the Stalkers, they are tactically fascinating and will increase your options, but much like the Chameleon Stalkers, you do want some kind of mobile hammer to help them in spot situations. The roster has plenty of those. They usually don't have self-sufficient far-flung units to support like this, so I'm not worried about that. Since they don't delve into the Harmony system themselves, they also don't support Harmony units in Cathay generally, but that is on brand. The fact they soak up a ton of general melee infantry buffs in the red line and tech tree makes them easy to use in your existing lineups as appropriate. And of course, there's the full-on feature campaign if you want to roar with Tiger Warriors practically by themselves. If fighting them, treat their danger as all-in melee, even the Stalkers, and burn them down with aggressive means. Without the overpowered special campaign stuff, they're less glassy than some melee cannons, but not to the point you need to distinguish them. Devastating Ambusher only lasts 20 seconds a pop, so while they present some challenges to, let's say, kite with gutter runners, no variant is going to enjoy being peppered by missiles. That may prove harder once the speed upgrades land, but there are still ways. In fact, this set of strengths and weaknesses is probably a lot of the reason they are presented as a strong anti-Chaos force. Chaos loves melee and has one of the weaker missile games in the business, but you may want to consult my Norsca and Chaos videos on Marauder Horsemen for kiting and weakening them. Against General Cathay, they had plenty of issues, but let's say Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh with magical attack ranged javelins will counter Stalkers pretty nicely. Take care and have fun clawing your way up the popularity chart. Even for the Dragon Lords, I expect Tiger Warriors to provide a serious option for pushing, and that'll make all the push-friendly units that much more relevant, something I think we needed.